Welcome back, everyone. It is February 9th, 2026. It's about 12 in the afternoon, Eastern time. It's Monday. All right, let's jump in. I want to follow up with where we left off last time. So last time we marked up this area. Now, between the last video and this video, the only thing that I've done at this point is change the colors. I believe that the last video, this was green and this was red as I was building it. So you can actually see me mark out these areas. Now, the reason why I changed the colors of it is because I want my, colors have an emotional reaction to it. So in this zone, I want to, tell myself this is a good buying opportunity, even though it's going to feel like, hell if we came down here. And this is a potential good selling opportunity. So I labeled this red. And the same thing goes with here, green, right? Red up here, all of that stuff. Like that's the only thing that I've changed at this point. So let's zoom in here and talk about what happened after I recorded the video. So when I recorded the video, we were at this mark right here. And if I go down to a lower time frame, let's go down to the hour chart. You could see, like, let me get that circle in there. Bing! You could see what happened. As I finished recording the video, we took a nice sweep down, right? And if I go even further down the line here, if I go to the 15-minute, look at that. Look how fast that went down, right? But it had a nice reaction on there. It had a nice V-shaped recovery. And if you're in the lower time frames, it becomes, it becomes jargled, right? Like it just becomes, you can't see the full picture. But if I go out to the 12-hour time frame, which is, my favorite time frame to work off of, you could see that we have actually closed above this 50% line. Okay, the candle bodies closed themselves, and we're working our way back up. Now, in my last video, I also explained that I was buying spot, and I did. I bought down here. I also bought down here, and I actually longed at this position. This was a nice place that I felt. So after I recorded the video, I rewatched the video to see what was going on, see how my analysis was working, and then I decided to take a long at that point. So I am in profit right now. I'm still running it, and the same thing goes for Ethereum. I also took a long, and I adjusted my chart a little bit to match what we did for Bitcoin. So I took a long out in this section right over here, and now we're working our way up. Now, I don't want to go too far into the analysis any more than what I did last time. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for it to push up, okay? And I'm looking for it to actually hit right about here. This is the area that I would like to see it hit as a resistance mark. If it can make it up here, then I'm going to decide whether I'm going to start to exit out of all my positions or if I'm going to hold on to them. Right now, I like what I like where I bought my spot. I'm feeling really good about it. And so what I wanted to go over in this video is a big macro scale of this. I usually make my analysis on the 12-hour and I work my way down, right? Because I am day trading. And if you notice, sometimes when I make marks on the chart, for example, this right here, it takes quite some time to get there. That's because I do all my analysis on the 12-hour so that I'm not like frantically jumping around. So when it gets to an area that I feel like it's time to long, for example, over here, I check the 12-hour first, and then I work my way down to kind of get more of a sniper kind of scenario, right? I look for really fast moves down, wicks, all sorts of stuff, speed and volume, all of that, okay? But here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to shift from the 12-hour, and I'm going to go to the monthly chart. And this is what I want to concentrate on in this video. So first of all, let's look at what we marked out here, because you could see in here on the Bybit chart that we're back into this range, and you can see that consolidation there, and you can actually see like where the 50% line is and all of that. I mean, look at this candle right over here, and you can see now this candle whipped down, and it's moved back up into the range high of this previous cluster that we're at. So this just says to me that we made our range pretty good. This right here, this wick that's down here, I'm going to consider that manipulation. I'm going to leave that where it is, but I'm also going to take note to it, right? Now, here's the thing about this chart. Notice that it actually cuts off right around July of 2021, right? So let me just make sure that my time is set on here. Let me just go here. No, it is. Looks like it's March of 2020. That's when we are in there. Okay, so let me click away from there. So this doesn't give you the full history of Bitcoin. And the reason why is because maybe the exchange started then. Maybe that's when it added liquidity then. All the charts are, very dependent on what exchange you're looking at or, where the info is. But I do have a chart on here that is that shows the full history of Bitcoin. And that is this chart right here. Okay, so if you look, now we actually got a lot more candles that are going down to August 2011. Okay, now this is a real nice chart to look at, but it's not a good chart. Like it's a really good chart to get an overall idea of the history of Bitcoin and where it might go. But if you're trading on an exchange, you have to pay attention to the exchange chart itself. And I trade on Bybit, and that's why I look at the Bybit chart. I also look at the Binance chart as well because I feel like it's got some good, it's got a lot of liquidity in it. So it gives me a good, a good record. But I look at this Bitstamp chart to get the full history of Bitcoin. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to map out the highs, the extreme highs. So for example, here, this is when Bitcoin was at its all-time high. So I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to just pull this candle, this trend line out, this line out, so that we know that that's the candle that we're looking at, okay? Next thing I want to do is I want to go further down the line. Let's go, this is not a high here because we've got one over here. So let me go to the next high, which is this one right over here. You can see that candle right there, okay? So let me mark this one out as well. So this is an all-time high right there. And let's go down to even further. Let's find the all-time high for this one. Let's do that right here. Boom. And then let's pull this out, okay? Just like so. So we've got that. Now, this is how I end up looking at these charts, okay? You have a lot of information here that you can go back and look at. So it's important for you to actually mark them up and, investigate. So let's do this. Let's make some notes here. I'm going to take this and pull that out there. So you can see that we've got each one of these lines that represent the previous all-time high. Now, let's do the math here. You see this? This is November 13th to November 17th. That is a 4-year stretch from here to here. This is a 4-year stretch. You can see it. Okay. Now, from December 17th to November 21st, that is also a 4-year stretch. Okay. And look at this, November 21st to 2025. It is also 4 years. Now, there is a little bit of a pattern to this, right? First of all, let's just kind of mark this out. This is November 13th, right, that I got. This is December 17th. This is November 21st. This is October 25th. Okay, so notice it's almost like it's working around the same time. The average is November, right? December, that's like plus 1 month, right? And November, we're back down, and this is minus 1 month, right? So the average is November. Okay, so around November, we've had our all-time high 4 years apart from each other. Now, here's the thing about this, right? As we look at this, you could see that history has a tendency to repeat itself. Not all the time. I guess the real word is echo, right? It echoes itself because not everything is too exact. But as you look at this, you can see we've got like this, this hump here. We've got this hump over here. Notice what happened over here, and then look at what happened over here. And this is kind of where we are right now. Okay. Now the other thing that I want to do is I'm going to color these lines out here. So let's color them. Let's make that green. Okay, because this was the all-time high. Green. Let's go right. Green. Yeah. And green. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the lows. Okay. So let's do that. Let's see where the lows are. Here. So this is the low right there. And let's make that red. Red. And let's find the next low. This is right over here. Let's grab that right there. So let me mark that off with a trend as well. with a trend line there. So we got a horizontal line right there. And this one actually looks like the low. So let me move that over one right there. Let me just double check. This one is actually the low right there. Let's get that right there. Okay, and let's go to this one way back in time. Way back. There we go. This is the candle right here. That's the candle right here. Okay, great. So now let's measure this, right? So this looks like it is about, what is that, a year? Almost a year? I'll say that's about a year, right? A year and a month or something like that, right? So this is a year. This is a year. Okay, so it looks like to the low would be a year. So let's just pull out a line here and mark out where a year is over here. So October to, let's do it like right over here. Okay, so here's the point of this, right? We've got this stretch here and we need to make sure that we pay attention to what's going on. Because honestly, like, it's not about getting the all-time high. It's about this move right here. It's about this move all the way up to the top. It wasn't about this right here. It was about this right over here. Okay, and what I'm seeing now in this chart is a solid pattern. So if I were to, let's just make a block here, okay, so that we could see, let's just block this out. There, this is kind of the block out period before we move to the next one, right? Just like so. Here, it's over here. Yep. There we go. So again, you know, my last video that I made, I was talking about how, you know, fear in the market would give you an opportunity to start buying in and, you know, getting a good position. You don't want to buy up here. This is not where you want to buy. Like, that's not where you want to buy. Unless you're looking for a long-term hold, I get it. But you're going to start DCAing in to get your maximum, potential, okay? This was a maximum potential area. So, between this date and this date over here, okay, I'm going to say, you know, I could be off. I mean, I'm just, this line here is September. Probably should be one notch over. Let me make it one notch over. There we go. Just like that. This, to me, is we are in buying territory. We're in buying territory. So for all of you that are worried that it's going to go down to zero or anything like that, this chart says otherwise. Now, I want you to also pay attention to this. There are moments of opportunity for you to make some kind of gain. Okay, so it's not about just getting out and running. Like, if you want to trade this, there's plenty of opportunity. This range here, there is a plenty of opportunity to be buying. But we are now in this bear market where shorting is probably the biased at this point, right? For if you are trading leverage or anything like that, checking resistance, anything like that. But also, if you are really interested in stacking, you know, buying and holding positions at this point is probably even more important than that, okay? So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing an opportunity that is growing. And, you know, these patterns here, these patterns are repeatable. The thing is that, once we were over here, everyone said, oh, this was different, right? And they screamed over here, oh, this is different, you know, right? And over here, they said the same thing, this is different. But as you can see, the pattern of Bitcoin is always the same. It seems to be the same. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't break the pattern. It can. But where we are right now, honestly, is a really nice place, I think. So you see this order block over here? We mapped that out already. This is the range that we're in, right? And you can see that if you do a little bit more research here, you can actually look and see where the last high was compared to it. So like, where did it come from? Where did the last one come from? Look at this. So if I pull all of these things out, you can see where it actually found, you know, some kind of strength or how it kind of worked. This one's a little bit of an anomaly, but because it's more of a genesis area. But you can see here, like, what happened. Like, it actually resisted in this part before it broke out, right? So if we pull out all of these, you can do your own research here. You can see where the last support was. So like here, see, this was the last all-time high, or this was an all-time high, and then it broke the all-time high, and look what it did. It came back and it revisited the support level for it. Now, if this is the last all-time high, right, look where we are right now. We are revisiting the all-time high. So if we do sweep a little bit lower and then we start to work our way up, that's what I feel like will happen. Okay, so take a look, spend some time in the monthly chart, work your way down, take the same kind of analysis and go down to the weekly chart. Take a look and see all of the details that you've already made. Look, you can see here, look where we are. Look where we are building some kind of support. Now, again, it could come, remember, these wicks are a thing for me, right? They're a thing for me. This is the weekly chart here. So if you look at any of the wicks, you can kind of do the same theory and try to like look and see how it reacts to there and do your investigation. I'll go down to the five-day chart. You can see what's going on here as well. And again, like look at where we wicked off. Look, there's a wick here, there's a wick here. But as we go down in the time frame, the wicks act a whole lot different. Okay, so if I come down here to the day chart here, you can see we've mapped out a pretty good zone here. Okay, 12-hour, you can see all of that. Okay, so anyway, so I wanted to give you guys a good idea of the macro, time frame, and really kind of like look at everything as a whole to kind of give you a perspective of where we are. Sure, scream FUD, and we can go lower. Okay, but look what happened from here to here, and then look at this boost. I mean, this is what you should be concentrating on. This is what you should be concentrating on. Go measure these moves. This is what you should be concentrating on. And honestly, a pattern, an algorithm, whatever you want to call it, man, like this, it's programmed in. Like this is, maybe it's a consensus. I don't know, whatever it is. But yeah, the 4-year cycle here worked. The 1-year cycle of finding the low worked. We got more time here. We could see more information as it goes, but I thought I would bring this up to you guys, show you what I've seen, and also like give you a good idea on how I go about looking at these candles, these charts, and what we can do to kind of like make a plan for that. So anyway, if you are enjoying this content, please consider liking and subscribing, share our content. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them below, and talk to you guys soon. Be good. Bye.